And we're live. What's going on, everyone?
Cool. What's up, everybody?
Going on. You already know what it is. It's the Nooner Nation podcast, a podcast for Nooners by Nooners. And we have a special guest today who is Nooner adjacent. He is a good friend of one of our favorite Nooners, Mr. Matt Chapin. You know, we call him C Hapes on the show. Uh, kind of
Yeah.
our, yep. So he's already in the chat waiting on you. He was the one who kind of got us connected, which, thank you, Matt, for that. But what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Kind of recovering from a long road trip. I was down Daytona Bike Week. I spent like 11 or 12 days in Florida and then kind of took a slow drive back and took all week to get back to Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time in Florida, let alone Daytona. Is Bike Week that long?
Bike week goes from like weekend to weekend. Yeah. So
Okay.
it goes like 9, 10 days.
Oof. Yeah, that's a lot of Daytona. Did you hit up the
It
Hooters? Did you hit up the Hooters
I
in
didn't,
Daytona?
I didn't hit up a lot of bars. I was kind of hunkered down because I was working my merch booth by myself while I was there. I was set up at a vendor spot, hustling my hats, and so I couldn't really get away a lot. I would have to shut down the shop and potentially miss people in the
Right.
middle of the day. So I kind of only got out and about when it was raining, the weather was bad, and then we would kind of shut down because we would lose the crowds. I was
Right.
set up at a I was set up at a bar that was kind of a day drinking spot, so we had a lot of comers and goers hanging out.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of shocked. I was thinking this 'cause I know you were at Bike Week for a while. I mean, almost 2 weeks. But you're. We'll get into your brand here in a second because it might be the greatest branding ever created, especially in this community. Because we were talking off air a little bit about like the Drinking Bros podcast community and all that, and mostly just a bunch of lovable dirtbags. So hats that say "Show me that butthole" are gonna you know, go
Yeah.
well with that. Um, Sorry, technical shit. I don't know if you've ever done any like podcasting or live stuff. It
No.
ne- it
I was,
never fucking works right. The first like this is the 27th episode. You think I'd have it figured out? No,
yeah.
nope. But anyways, we move on. So, um, you're at Bike Week. I figured you would have stayed headed south to Miami for spring break.
Yeah, I just wasn't prepared for it. I've never gone to spring break. I would have just gone there in my leisure time, I guess. And I was ready to start heading back home because I'd already been in Florida. I left home on March 2nd. I didn't leave until last Sunday, so I was 2 Sundays ago now. So I
Oof.
was I was in Florida for a while, and I was car camping when I was down there, which is just a fancy way of saying sleeping in my Jeep.
Yeah.
And for a few days, I had so much stuff loaded in that I was bedrolling it. Actually, my first night on the road, I slept under the front bumper of my Jeep in the Nashville Public Library parking ramp.
Oh
That's where I
shit.
always stay when I go out in Nashville. When I go out in Broadway, it's just the parking ramp there, and it works out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We.
I was so loaded down that I slept under the stars a few nights, and then it was so nice in Florida that I was able to get away with that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Daytona is probably pretty nice this time of year, other than you probably get a couple pop up showers every once in a while.
Yeah, there was, the temperature dropped as I was leaving. I think it's kind of volatile this time of year, but it was really nice the whole week, pretty much.
Nice. Nice. So we've been rambling. I am joined with Dave, and I'm going to fuck up your last name, so I'll let you say it.
Yeah, my last name is pronounced Filing. That's
Filing. Okay.
it's a really common thing. It's a hard one to pronounce, and there's a famous motorcycle parts company that pronounces it Feuling, so it's even more.
That's what I was gonna say, but I was like, that E before the U is fucking me up. So I'm gonna let him.
That's that's the German pronunciation thing.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, Dave
Yeah,
Filing. You
yeah,
are like the creator of, repcps.com, but CPS is College Peep Show, correct?
yeah. That's
So,
right.
so for any listeners and anybody listening right now, you probably have already seen it. You've seen it out in the world. You've definitely seen it like on most of my Instagram stuff over the last 2 weeks. He is the creator of the greatest hat ever made. He's wearing one right now, and it simply is a hat with a patch that says "Show me that butthole."
Nice and simple.
And if you were telling me offline you just listened to my previous episode with Brittany. For some reason, with the people in this community, we talk about buttholes a lot.
Hmm.
So I do have to ask, since creating this hat and promoting it and stuff, how many buttholes have you seen?
It's funny. I get asked that a lot, and the honest answer is not nearly enough. I didn't see one while I was in Florida, which I think is BS. But people
Mm,
actually do sometimes. They get excited about it, especially people that are drinking. Usually dudes, but
yep.
not exclusively dudes. And they will just whip it out. I think people feed into their own impulses sometimes, and
Yep.
they'll just do it.
Yeah.
And I laugh it off. It's hilarious, really. Um,
Yeah. I can imagine. I was figuring like just a random flashing of a butthole to some random bearded man such as yourself is a total guy thing, right? Like,
Probably. I went to Van Nationals last summer because I have an '84 Chevy van now that I bomb around in, and I didn't know anybody there, and just kind of showed up and was mingling around, and a dude saw my hat and just bent right over and showed me, and he's a friend of mine now. His name's Wyatt, and he's the lead singer of Riff Lord, which
okay.
is a rock band out of South Dakota. Um, and a hard rocking band. They're fucking good. I haven't seen them live because I missed them when I showed up to Van Nationals. I was there a day late, but cool guy.
Right.
People will just do it. People will just whip it out.
Yeah. Yeah, we so Brittany, who was on the show last time, she's definitely gonna order one of the hats, and we have a bet. The Drinking Bros podcast, which is huge. They're building a new facility in Austin. They're gonna have a grand opening. And the bet is that if she wears that hat, the over under for how many buttholes it will come out during the event is set at 29 and a half.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see. They have a sponsorship from DraftKings and MyBookie, so we might actually end up making an actual bet about this. So if that happens, maybe me and you head down there and we regulate how the
I would
the
I would
official
head
butthole count.
that. I would help. I would contribute to that. I can be
Yeah,
a butthole counter.
yeah, yep. And
It's
that's
kind of
probably
like
gonna be a lot of guys.
you just want to make sure you don't stare too long or get brown spots in your eyes when you blink.
Yeah, yeah. Unless it's like Hope Solo's butthole, then you get sucked in like a black hole. So I don't know if you ever saw those pictures. Not to go back down this rabbit hole, but
I'm not sure I have.
yeah, I'll text them to you later. They're
Right.
aggressive, very aggressive. You know. So yeah, he started College Peep Show. Now it's repcps.com. Go check them out after the show. Obviously, keep watching. You can also use the promo code Nooners for 10% off. Thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so how did this start? How did College Peep Show? Great name, by the way. Like you quit your job now, right? And you're shilling merchandise promoting the flashing of anuses at you. So like give me the backstory of this.
Yeah, so it's been an evolution up to this point, obviously, but it started out just a bunch of buddies just kind of drinking and having fun with ideas. We followed this dumpy Snapchat called College World
Hmm.
that uploaded dumpy nudes every day, and you could tell that they were just kind of random pictures from the internet and not necessarily.
That was called College World.
That was called College World, yeah. And
Noted.
so I kind of took the college from that because I wasn't in college when I started it. I found them on Twitter and I would tell my buddies what the new Snapchat was. This is back in 2014. And at that point in time, there was nothing like that really on Snapchat that I was aware of. And so we were pretty excited about it. And it would get shut down a lot because Snapchat was changing their terms and was against that.
Right.
And and so they kind of just joked with me, cocked off, and said, "If you're so smart, why don't you start your own?" And we kind of, as a group, I was like sharing passwords with them. We had made Wasted in the USA that was going to be drunk shenanigans and just like us on weekends partying. and then College Peep Show was going to be the sexy girl side of it, and it was all just made up. And I went on Tumblr and just stole images, blasted them out there, made them look real. And within a week or 2 3 weeks, people just thought that they were real. It had spread, and I really didn't have to source content anymore. People just started sending in their own images because they thought that it's funny because like the hotter the girls are, the more dick pics I would get, and people would just follow each other's lead. And so then trends started like Titty Tuesday and Thong Thursday, and it wasn't like I started those trends, but they continued on my Snapchat, and submissions were crazy. It was everything from cum shots to people fucking in their car to like everything, and I would filter through that and decide what would go on the channel,
Right.
and it just blew up.
So do you still have the Snapchat?
It's still going. It's Snap Rep CPS.
Okay.
It's just kind of adult comedy. It's not smutty. I haven't shared nudes in years now on it, but it's still going. I think there's probably 5 6,000 people on it every day,
Wow.
which isn't a. I don't think it's a ton. It was up to 70,000 every day when it was really popping, but it's still alive and well.
Yeah.
I get submissions from around the world. There's people that go on vacation, send a lot of cool stuff. A lot of interesting people are part of it.
Awesome, man. So what were you doing before this? And then what made you like at what point did you decide like I'm gonna go start doing the CPS stuff full time?
Well, it was just kind of a fun joke that got popular. So I was running with it, and I was doing things to improve it, spending a little bit of money on it, but not a lot. And I was CNC machining while I was doing this. I was working overnights for a while. I was working overnights on weekends. So I would work 3 straight shifts and then have a week off, and I would manage it just using my phone. I started running a hack through a Raspberry Pi that mimicked an Android device, and I would
Okay.
log on to my Snapchat that way, and that allowed me to filter content easier, because when it was really popular, I was getting sometimes 2,500 submissions on a Friday and a Saturday, and then like averaging probably 1,000 a day during the week. And the Raspberry Pi hack helped me with that. I would just say yes or no, straightforward, and it
Hmm.
would blast it on my story. And it grew in popularity enough to the point where I thought, well, I'm doing this work. I'm spending a little bit of money on it. I'm definitely spending time on it.
Hmm.
I sell something. And I started with koozies. I think koozies were the first thing that I really released, which I love koozies, but I learned running a business, koozies are kind of an extra thing. It's hard to really have a big profit margin on koozies, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but they were cool and people liked them.
Yeah. Yeah. I do screen printing. Um, but yeah, koozies are definitely narrow margins on koozies for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard to even sell them for $5. People scoff at me
No,
sometimes.
people want it for free, right?
Yeah, everyone does want them for free.
Or
You
they're
know,
like, oh, I'll buy a $5 koozie. They go to checkout and shipping, is $5 as well. They're like, oh, I'm not, yeah,
yeah, and I get it. I'm that way too. Sometimes the shipping ad's on, and it's like, I'm just not willing to spend that on this impulse buy. But
right,
sometimes I am.
yeah. So you went koozies. Um, hold on, something is going on.
I also used Indiegogo. That was an early fundraiser. I didn't have a ton of extra cash. I had bought a home in my mid 20s, and so a lot of my money went to that. And so I used Indiegogo and kind of fundraised to make a shirt order. That was one way Indiegogo is kind of like GoFundMe and that stuff. And then I did 80 hats, 40 and 40. I think the patches were a good decision maker with like a beer mug on it. And we go together like drunk and disorderly.
Yeah, I
And
saw that. I love that one.
I sold those hats in like 12 hours, those 80 hats that I'd ordered. And then I quit my job, and I was like, if I can do that well, sell 80 hats overnight, I should be able to do that again. I just got to figure out how, got to figure out what people want, keep making it.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, 80 hats overnight is pretty good. So what are you still like? Are the numbers still tracking well? I mean, obviously you're still doing it full time, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they are.
so what's the weirdest place you've ever shipped merchandise to?
Well, I've shipped stuff nationwide for sure. A lot to Canada, a little bit to Europe, like Sweden and Denmark, Germany. I think I've shipped some to Okinawa, specifically to the military base there. Kind of everywhere.
Okay.
Um, Australia, some, although sometimes international shipping is tough because you have to go through multiple carriers and
Right. Yeah.
disappear. So I'm not shipping to Australia right now, but definitely been shipping worldwide. I think I've had an order for North Pole, Alaska within the last year
Yeah.
that caught my eye.
Nice. Nice. So are
But
you doing all the fulfillment and stuff yourself or
I did for a couple of years. Yeah, I made a little shipping center in my basement and I was going to the post office every day. Now I hire that out to the same facility that does my sewing. The patches are heat pressed on and then
right?
embroidered by hand around the outside of the patches. And that's done in Charleston, South Carolina. So I have a facility there that I ship from also.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Did you stop by there on your way back from Daytona?
I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
stopped with all the guys. I met a few people that I've been communicating on email with for the first time, which is kind of funny because you build a relationship without even knowing who they are. So
Right.
got to meet some people for the first time. It was good. Charleston
Awesome.
was
Yeah, Charleston's a fun town. Actually, me and my wife, we were still dating one summer. I grew up like in the mountains of North Carolina, like the Asheville area.
good.
And one summer while we were dating, we just moved to Charleston for a summer. Like, let's go to the beach. And it was really rad until you got to figure out how to pay to live at the beach. And
Yeah.
then it was not rad. And I worked at like an Applebee's and I saw a guy deep fry his own hand one time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was
That's
rough. It's probably one
probably
of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
probably makes you think about your choices. Like
Yeah, so
I should go find something else to do for a while.
yeah. I worked in the back. They call it an expediter, but essentially I was the guy just putting the food together, made it look good on a plate before they took it out. Um, and the fry cook, I think, was just like high as shit at the time and was like texting and dropped his phone into the deep fryer and just immediately like instinctually went in after it. And yeah, came back out with like no skin left on his hand and the most horrifying scream I've ever heard in my life.
That's
And
horrible.
and then all hell broke loose. So
I
had to
bet.
had to close down the restaurant. I mean, it was like this was like 7 p.m. or something, and yeah, it was rough. It was fucking wild.
That
But
sounds
Applebee's does have pretty good chicken fingers. So
yeah, I used to go for their the half off apps after 9 a lot.
yeah, I think they do like $1 margaritas or something now at some
Yeah,
point.
they have like monthly specials on those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. They just tore down like the only Applebee's in Des Moines. Like
Really?
yeah, like just this week, and I kind of felt like heaven gained another angel. You know,
What's the go-to place in Des Moines?
in Des Moines, actually, it depends on where you're at. I don't know if you've ever been here. I know you're a Midwest guy,
A
but
little bit.
um, if you're in like Des Moines proper, you don't get a lot of chain stuff. It's a lot of I'm not gonna say mom and pop because there's really like I think there's like four companies that own like every restaurant downtown.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of good restaurants downtown. You go to like West Des Moines, which is more like the newer, yuppier side. You get a lot of like I don't know if you've ever been to like a Firebirds. They're a chain, kind of a fancier place. Outback stays pretty busy, as does Chili's.
Wow.
The typical white people go tos in the suburbs. Stay pretty busy.
I
Cracker
feel like
Barrel.
I feel
All
like Chili's is for people that like Applebee's, but they want to get just a little bit rowdier.
yeah, yeah. Get that salsa. I love the chili salsa.
Yeah.
It could be spicier, but I like how it's blended. I'm not a big chunky salsa guy. I don't know how you are on that, but
Yeah. Well, I love a good homemade.
yeah,
Um, I guess I do like the thinner salsa when it comes to buying salsa. If I find the restaurant styles that
hmm
are blended a little bit runnier, dare I say,
yep,
they're good.
yeah, a little soupy. You gotta scoop it in,
Yeah.
really get
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I think there's actually a really good salsa I got today from a local hot sauce company that's expanding. They've actually kind of blown up. They're out of Des Moines. It's called Lola's. So if you ever see their salsa or their hot sauce in your grocery store, go get it. I know they're in like Publix down south now, which is pretty wild. But it was what was it? It was a ghost pepper bacon salsa, and it was delicious, but hot as fuck. But it tasted so good that I'm pretty sure my gums were bleeding, but I just could not stop eating it.
I've never had a bacon in a salsa.
Yeah, it was good. It was bacon and sweet corn.
Sounds
So
good. Sounds sweet.
yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, so you're at Bike Week for 11 days. You also it took you what another week to get home after that?
Yeah, another. Well, I spent 3 nights in Charleston, but actually I arrived at like 1 a.m. my
Mm,
first night because I got done in Florida, packed up, and got out of Dodge.
right.
And so I was like a 5 hour drive through the night to get there. And then I spent 2 full days kind of just exploring Charleston, doing tour stuff. I took some nice walks around downtown. It was pretty nice weather. It wasn't rainy while I was there. And and then on my last night there, I kind of just was relaxing, sprawled out in bed for the first time in a while because I was car camping.
Right. Yeah.
And I used the Bands in Town app to kind of pick my next destination. I
Okay.
was just I was picking towns that were like less than a day's drive,
Right.
like less than 10 hours, and just seeing if there's any bands that I would maybe be interested in seeing because I didn't necessarily have a destination. You can book a room overnight anytime. So I used that and I picked Charleston and I went to the place called the Walker Theater in Charleston,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
called Langhorne Slim. And Langhorne Slim wasn't someone that I was super familiar with. I've streamed his one album, which was released in 2012. So it's been out for 10 years. Um, and it was cool. It was a really intimate show. He did some intimate storytelling. Um, a little girl that was a big fan came up on stage and sang a song with him in the theater, and it was cool.
Okay. What kind of genre is that?
He was kind of a singer songwriter
Okay.
Americana.
Okay. Like so.
Modest Mouse is kind of a good comparison
Okay.
to like to the album I'm specifically
Kind of
thinking
like
of.
yeah. What would you call it? Almost like a modern folk music,
Yeah, kind of.
maybe.
Yeah, I would. That'd be. I would be okay calling it that. Yeah.
There's some other bands like that. Who was I listening to the other day? I can't remember the name of the band, but the song's called "Take It All Back," and there's like a mandolin in it, and
Yeah.
Judah and something I can't remember. I don't know. I might if last time I was with a bunch of people, like in a rental car, I plugged my phone in. And I was like, "Beware, my phone's gonna play music, and it's gonna be everywhere." Right? There's gonna be probably like Faith Hill transitioning to Tupac, transitioning to I don't know
Yeah.
Metallica. It's everywhere, man. Like there's probably some Beethoven in there or Beethoven, according to Bill and Ted. You know.
I think that I feel like you and I probably both grew up kind of in the Napster area and iTunes and all
Mm-hmm.
that. We just
Yeah.
immediately got exposed to anything we wanted to listen to,
Oh
and
yeah.
so kind of that I think our taste in music. I think a lot of people's taste in music became kind of eclectic because of that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm 34. So
And
yeah. So yeah, same era. I graduated high school in '06. I actually graduated on 6/6 of '06.
mm,
So that was rad because of one snow day. We got that one snow day, and everybody's like, "Yes, no more snow." Because like I said, you grew up in the Midwest. I'm assuming,
yeah,
right? Yeah, I was in North Carolina. An inch of snow. There'd be no school for like 3 days. So we got that one extra snow day that took us from the 5th to the 6th. So I
yeah,
graduated on 6/6 of '06, and
right on.
it's worked
Uh,
out well. It's worked out well. So
I was eager to get to school. I kind of liked school. I think I liked the social aspect of it even when I was little. So I graduated in '05.
okay.
I was young when I graduated.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I liked the social aspect of school for sure. Um, I was maybe one of those guys that's like a lot of stuff like especially high school. By the time I got into high school, I knew it was kind of all bullshit. And we talked about it on the show before. Like my senior year is when it really kind of really solidified it. When I told like my counselor, advisor, or whatever, it's like, hey, I think I'm just gonna go to community college. And he was just like pretty much telling me like, well, I guess McDonald's needs burger flippers. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're not gonna go to a 4-year school immediately? Like, well, I guess you're just gonna be a loser for the rest of your life. I was like, okay. Now, like most of my friends that either went to like a 2-year trade school or
Yeah.
just went right into a blue collar like machining. My best friend owns a machine shop in North Carolina, loves his job, makes his own schedule, and makes a shit ton of money. Whereas all of the people that I know that went and got 4-year degrees all work in cubicles and hate their life. So
Yeah.
and then you get to drive around the country selling hats, exclaiming, to show buttholes.
And that's true. And I've been driving the website online for a long time. So actually when I do my road trips, that's kind of extra. That's marketing and networking,
Yeah.
fun. I do love long road trips. Sometimes they get exhausting and you push too hard and you're on the road too much. I was in Chattanooga, went to that theater, but that's the only thing in Chattanooga I saw.
Chat Town, yeah.
I didn't go to Lookout Mountain. I woke up in the morning and kind of had to get going. So I had breakfast at the diner and left town. So I miss a
Yep.
lot.
Yep.
I needed a few more days in every town I stayed in, but it was good.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Now if you like Chattanooga enough, you know that if you're looking for places to go back for a couple of days, to go look at Chattanooga, right?
Absolutely.
Same with I noticed you were in I think Dubuque. Did you go to Dubuque, Iowa?
Dubuque is a fun town. It kind of feels like more like home to me in Dubuque because that's just a couple hours downriver from where I grew up. I graduated high school in a town that's on the banks of the Mississippi River, just like Dubuque. So kind of common river rats there. I like that about Dubuque.
Yeah, yeah, right off the Mississippi. I've stopped in Dubuque, kind of like you, but not for nearly as long. I've stopped in Dubuque for what was supposed to be lunch and then turned into a couple of lunch beers, which turned into a nap in my truck, and then moving on from there. But
It's kind
Dubuque,
of there.
yeah, Dubuque's a fun town, and it is. I mean, Dubuque, you're getting to. I mean, you're the northeast corner of Iowa, so you're getting up there to Minnesota and Wisconsin and stuff. Pretty nice. It actually reminds me a lot of like like Chattanooga, like the Tennessee Valley area. You start getting some mountains, or not mountains so much, but some elevation changes, some woods.
Yeah,
It's a nice area for sure.
that's a feature that's unique to the driftless region of Wisconsin, which is it runs in the Mississippi River Valley, and it seems mountainous. It
Right.
does. It kind of compares to the mountains out east, the Smoky Mountains,
Yep.
but the elevations aren't as high, and everything's caused by river drainage.
Yep.
So you get to the top and it's flat, or you get to the bottom and it's flat, and it's in between that's all windy because everything lies with what the rivers carve out.
Right. Right. So with that, back to the CPS stuff. Like you say, like you're not on the road all the time. Like what's a normal day for Dave?
Um, a normal day is I kind of get up, I check my phone, go through emails and stuff like that, and I come down here and just start kind of being available for social media. We
Right.
always have our day-to-day tasks and our notifications we have to handle. And then I kind of spend a lot of time just being available for emails that come up, issues that I didn't necessarily think of, things I didn't write down or something. Just being available is a big part of it. And then I kind of just roll with it. I kick around ideas a lot. I'll have ideas for a new video upcoming or a design, and just kind of have that in the back of my brain boiling around, and and I kind of use that. And sometimes I'll just hit a period of confidence where it's like, you know what, this is what that idea needs, or here's why I don't like that. Um, no day is really the same because I'm always working, but I'm never working.
Right.
My personal phone is my business phone. My personal Snapchat account is my business account. And so I'm living the brand And my office, this is just an unfinished space in my basement with stuff nailed to the wall. It isn't a formal office. It's my hangout area, and I call it the lounge because I've got an old hand-me-down recliner on the other side of it. It's got like a pull-out bed in corner sectional, and I kick my feet up and read there, take naps there, and whatever. It's just kind of a living space in my house, and everything nailed to the wall behind me is kind of specifically for a video backdrop. It's kind of like a studio. I've got some studio umbrella lights in here now for good lighting.
Yep.
And then, day to day, I kind of just pick up stuff. I'm kind of a yes man. It's hard to say no, but at the same time, I try to be more hospitable because you never know what you're going to miss if you do say no. Sometimes you're just fucking busy and you can't meet everybody that reaches out. But a lot of times when you sit back and it's like, you know what, I did have plenty of time for that. Time management's kind of hard.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's the common theme in Alice in Wonderland. The time's always slipping away. So I think time management is something that I could definitely improve on. But my day to day is just kind of unpredictable because I have different things, like I do album features and I have a 60-minute 6-pack, but I don't always want to pound a 6-pack of beer and get drunk in the middle of the day. So I kind of reserve those for certain days and I just feel like doing it.
Yeah.
I go live a lot in the evening, but then sometimes I'm just kind of motivated to drink a lot while I'm live because I guess it's just the negative space. You don't know what to do with your hands. You got to be doing something. So I'm out picking up a bottle and I'll get hammered drunk on live on TikTok sometimes, just listening to records and hanging out down in the basement. There is no normal day. I try to be home and available because this is my office, and that's kind of where I start. And then you never know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely get the getting too drunk on live stuff. There's plenty of examples of me doing that. There's another podcast, Beth and Greg, the Bars Open with Beth and Greg, but it's friends of mine that do a podcast. We were having some issues integrating Zoom into the streaming stuff. Yeah. So one Saturday, Greg, the guy who runs it, hit me up. He's like, "Hey, we got time? Can we just do a Zoom and figure this out?" We were getting really bad echoing and stuff. And then I was like, "Yeah, sure." While we're at it, let's just invite some friends onto the Zoom while we're just dicking around. It's a Saturday night. My wife was out of town. My in-laws had my kids. And then we had some drinks and said, fuck it. Within 15 minutes, we had the issue solved. So it's like, fuck it, let's go live. It ended up being 2.5 hours long on a Saturday night. I remember maybe about 15 minutes of it. At one point, somebody was talking about jacking off in church, during a service or something.
Hell just broke loose.
Huh? Oh, it was nuts. We had because people were texting me hey, can I get in on this? I was just whatever, sending them Zoom links to random people coming on. So yeah, it was wild. It actually ended up being one of the best shows we've done numbers wise. So maybe I should do that more. But yeah, I've definitely learned. I've got to be cognizant of how much I'm consuming on air because I would just by the end of an episode I'd be like, oh shit, I've drank way too much. I'm rambling and I'm saying nothing of consequence, And
I feel you. And sometimes you got to walk the razor's edge because people are here for seeing you get messed up. They want to see that out of you and they encourage it. But at the same time, I'm trying to be professional and create good camera shots and be well thought out in the things I say. And then sometimes this just lets it all slip away.
Oh yeah. What do you got there? What are you drinking?
This is a New Glarus beer. New Glarus is like Spotted Cow. You can only get in Wisconsin.
Yep.
And this is I think it's more of a spring, late winter seasonal. This is a honey lager called Cabin Fever.
Honey lager. Okay. What's the APV on that?
I'm not sure if it's on the bottle. I might have to look that up. It's kind of a hearty beer, so I think it's probably a 5%, but I don't really know.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of I think it's a spring seasonal because it's kind of like a Bock beer. Bock beers are kind of a hearty spring beer when the weather's still pretty cold, but there's a lot of rebirth and the sun has some energy. And and just kind of your outlook in general is kind of rising with the entire spring. In the Midwest, we really feel it
Oh yeah.
because it gets so miserably cold and the days get so short. So this time of year, when the sun comes out, it has a big impact on all of us directly.
Oh yeah. It's been the weather here's been really nice, and then woke up today and it was snowing. And yeah, I definitely sent. I'm on a group chat with, I mean, a bunch of different people, but one of the group chats I sent a video just cussing winter up and down, like I'm done with winter.
Yeah,
Uh,
we got some snow yesterday too, and I think it's actually colder. It's warmer right now because it's like 30 degrees and it gets
mm-hmm,
sub in Wisconsin, obviously. But in the middle of winter, the air is dry.
mm-hmm.
Now all the moisture is coming out of the
Yeah,
ground. It's raining some
yeah,
days, and that humidity just chills you to the
yeah.
bone.
It's wet and muddy and gross, and then the wind. So yeah, like 30. Like I think the other, like it might have been today. I was just like, I like walked out to my truck and I was like, man, fuck this. Like what temper? Like turning the heat on high, seat warmers on, and it's like,
Yeah,
but
you
it's
kind of trick yourself into
uh,
thinking it's not cold anymore.
it's like 41 degrees. I was like, why am I being such a pussy right now? Like it's because like when it is like -1, it's dry. It's not wet and gross. It's just -1, right? You put in a big
When you
jacket
have
and
that, when you have that temperature swing, it just seems like it's paradise. It seems
oh
like,
yeah,
well, I don't need this jacket anymore. It's 40 degrees out now. It was 0 yesterday, and then but that tricks you, and then the
yeah,
humidity and rain and stuff, and it just chills you. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I'm thoroughly done with winter. I don't know if you've ever seen, it's a total like Instagram white people thing, but the stock tank pools, like the big galvanized stock tanks you use for livestock. So
Yeah.
I bought one of those, painted it real nice, and turned it into a pool. It's like an 8 foot one. It's like 8 feet diameter, 2 foot deep. I put like an above ground pool pump on it. So I've got one of those. Like my backyard is like a Midwest oasis in the summer. And then I also have like a hot wife from Brazil who likes to wear very small bikinis. So cold weather does me nothing. Um, like the second it gets cold, I'm ready for it to get warm again.
The stock tank pools are kind of trending, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
And
kind of turning into like white ladies that wear fedoras all have
yeah,
stock tank pools.
my buddy Jesse has one. He said it's the best money he ever spent. He
Love
loves
it.
it.
Love it. I love it. It's nice like when it's hot outside, go get in it. The kid, I've got two kids. I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. They love getting in it. Me and the wife will have drinks, in and around it all summer long while I'm grilling and stuff. So it's
It makes
definitely good
sense.
money.
You get what you need out of a pool,
Yep.
but you don't have as much maintenance as actual full size pool.
Yeah. Yeah. My in laws have like an in ground pool. And I mean, they figured it out where the maintenance is as minimal as possible, but I mean, it's still a commitment, right? It's like having like a golf course for a yard.
Yeah,
Whenever you see somebody with a really nice yard, you're like, that looks awesome, but there's a lot of time spent on that shit, right?
I don't spend much time on mine. I just mow it and that's it.
That's me. Yeah, that's me. I like push mow it and on with my day.
That's
I've tried a little bit and it didn't work out, so I'm like, I'm done trying.
basically just try not to be shaggier than the neighbors.
Yeah, luckily my neighbor's yard's like this weird slope, so grass doesn't grow, so I don't have to worry about that.
You're
Um,
always
my neighbors on the other side, lovely people, but like a younger lesbian couple, so they literally have nothing else to do but worry about their yard. So their yard always looks really great. So, but the other neighbor, I look better than, so we're good on that front. So,
My yard always looks fine. It's always the oil leaking old Chevys in the driveway that my neighbors get to stare at. That I no one ever complains. I think they don't mind it, but I'm glad I have cool neighbors.
yeah,
Put it that way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I live in a pretty awesome neighborhood, so I don't really worry about that. But so you talked about your day. You brainstorm a bit throughout the day, and I'm sure the answer to this is yes. But has there ever been an idea for a hat or a shirt or a patch or a koozie? You're like, this is hilarious, but it might be a little too far.
Yeah, I actually just I approved artwork for one today that I'm questioning whether or not I really want to be part of the brand, but I don't think it's really that vulgar. It's a little vulgar. Fuck titties, suck clitties.
That's good. That's good. Because here's the thing, I don't think that's too vulgar.
It's not really negatively addressing anybody. I think it's good. I
In
think it's
fact,
all good
in
things.
fact, like you're positively addressing, women. So you're kind of a feminist in reality, right?
Oh yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you also understand your audience, right? Like I'm wearing your hat right now. This is probably one of the more toned down ones, the skinny dips and bong rips. Whereas I ordered my wife the free hugs and butt plugs, right?
I love how that one turned out. The colors are so nice on
Oh,
it.
dude, that's awesome. That's the only. That's like the main reason I ordered it. I was like, man, that is like, it's it's groovy, right? Like that's the whole like kind of tone of that patch, the
Yeah.
colors and everything. It's like kind
Just
of
looks so warm, and
yeah.
then plugs just kind of throws you back.
I mean, who doesn't like a good butt plug either? Especially if it's followed by a free hug.
Butts are in.
Yeah. Well, butt stuff's very in. Butt stuff's very in, and it all leads back to Hope Solo's butthole. But
You're gonna have to
yeah,
send me pictures.
I'll send you some pics once we get off of here. But you know your audience, right? So like my wife was like, why didn't you order me a beanie with this one? I was like, yeah, which I probably will. But
Yeah.
like if we go like we make it to like we try to make it to at least like one Kansas City Chiefs tailgate, a year,
Yeah.
right? And like you can wear that there. That's awesome, right? So the one you just mentioned, like plenty of people in in Green Bay at some tailgate are gonna be like, check out this
Oh
hat,
yeah.
man. Right?
They'll
Plenty
be
of people.
happy. Yeah, they'll be happy to be the guy wearing it. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
who would have thought that a hat that says "Show me that butthole" would have exploded to the point it did, right? People love irreverence.
And my friends say that like if you would have asked us if it was a good idea, we would have all said no. Like why why would anyone even want that? Um and that's one of the things about my social media that's helped. I kind of monitor the numbers. The Snapchat submissions are kind of as raw as it gets because I'm just dealing with what I think is the best photo, the best content, or the funniest joke every day. And sometimes a certain image will get a ton of screenshots. Well, then I can use that. And I think, well, people must like that, post that to Instagram, kind of
Mm-hmm.
use it as a sounding board. And the same thing goes with the slogans. You can kind of throw stuff at the wall, see if it sticks. That's what I did with showing that butthole. I was using a print to order service for my
Mm-hmm.
shirts, and they seem to be doing pretty well as a print to order shirt. So I've made the jump to buy inventory of an actual hat.
Yep.
Last time I bought patches, I bought 10,000 because I just didn't want to be in a situation where I needed more and couldn't get more.
Yeah.
And of course, the more you buy,
The cheaper
the
they get. Yeah.
cheaper they get, which helps too. And I'm probably gonna be using that stash throughout the whole summer, but that's all right because I've got them available now. Last summer, my buddy Trav from Dirty Prescott Kids and his girlfriend Sweet Caroline, they're TikTokers, and he's a musician, he's an iron worker. They were just out on the boat. Leanne Rhymes was on one way ticket, and they just had they're just vibing to it. They're having a good time out in the river, and that video went viral. And within a day or two, a couple million views, and then people were stitching it and duetting it, getting millions of views. And I had so many orders that I couldn't get any more blanks. My most popular hat is the Yupung
Yep.
trucker.
Yep.
So it's got the mesh in the back, and it
Mm-hmm.
looks like this without the rope. It's
Yeah,
a
it's this
structure.
one. It's this one, right?
It's that one, but that's a curve bill.
Oh, you
Yeah,
go flat. Okay, gotcha.
flat bill is a little bit more popular, or at least that summer was, and I ran out of them. And that has to do with COVID shortages and stuff.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Oh,
basically
trust me, dude.
what was
Yeah.
available to me in the United States was just completely depleted, and I had to shut down sales in the month of June and just mark them as sold out, even though I was accepting like back orders. But
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of a phony back order too. I was just trying to hustle my ass off to get them ready to ship,
Yeah.
give myself enough time. I never would have imagined it would have taken 3 months. People waited a long time for some of their hats. People were kind of mad and were canceling and stuff, which is understandable.
No.
Um, it was a small percentage of everybody, but it was crazy. It took us 3 months. Sometimes I'd want another 1,000 hats to ship this week because people are hounding me, and I could kind of see how patient people were. People that were ordering around the same week in the month of June were
Yep.
kind of all all complaining the same time down
Yeah.
the and but
People were ordering because they want them there for 4th of July, right? And
exactly, a lot of people did, and some people got theirs in time, but a lot of people didn't.
yeah,
And it was the holidays coming up that created the urgency, and then all of a sudden we just got hit with the tidal wave, and it was like, wow, let's fucking go. Ended up doing like over 5,000 hats that month.
wow, dude, 5,000. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
The
it
second
was.
the second you said you ordered 10,000 patches, I was like, that's nuts, right? But you're saying like, oh, that'll last me the summer, dude. That's incredible. Like, good for you, dude. That's fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty righteous. I don't know a lot about the movie, but my hat's going to be in a movie. I signed a release as a permission to for them to use it. I had so last Wednesday, I was 2 Wednesdays ago now. I was leaving Charleston, and Bo Mitchell, the actor from Cobra Kai, is in Charleston. And actually, the Skinny Dips and Bong Rips is his line. That's in episode
Okay.
2 of Cobra Kai on Netflix. And he
So,
said it wasn't actually an improvised line.
so which one's Bo Mitchell on Cobra
Bo
Kai?
Mitchell played Brooks, and he was also the kid nephew of Kenny Powers on Eastbound and Down.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, he was the one that Kenny Powers called Shrek, and he was getting chocolate on the handlebars of the jet ski.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I
and
remember that. Yeah.
as a young adult, he plays Brooks in Cobra Kai series. So in the first season or two, he's kind of an extra. He's kind of like one of the buddies of the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Then in the later, I think he's back in season 4, and he resumes his role. He's gonna be in a upcoming movie, and so I'm excited about it. He wore it in the movie, but I don't know a lot about it because it's all kind of hush
Yeah.
hush right now, I
Let's
guess.
say, can you tell us what movie, or is that, do you even know?
I don't know the name of it. I know that he plays like kind of a punk college bro sort of.
Okay.
And that's kind of his character in the movie. I think it's kind of a little bit of a thriller or a little bit of a drama mystery thing. There's a murder or something that happens in the movie that kind of, it's like a mystery element to it. I don't know a lot about it, so I'm excited to see it come out.
Yeah. I mean, getting that hat, trust me, like, I'm sure what social media made the hat explode, right? Like, I remember when I first saw one, I was like, holy shit, I need that hat. And I went to your website. I mean, this was a couple years ago. And I went to your site and it was like sold out, sold out. So I was like, fuck. Right. And then kind of go back to it. Matt, our boy C Hapes, as we call him in the community. I think I maybe had said something about the hat recently. And he's like, I know that guy. I was like, do you, like, for real? He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I was like, will he come on the show? He's like, for sure. So, I mean, that's awesome connection to have, dude. Like, it's rad. Like, the fact that you're doing that kind of hat sales for one is just fucking insane, dude. The fact that you can leave your job to go do this, which you probably love, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, I mean I liked machining. It was cool. I didn't I didn't graduate high school knowing what I wanted to do. I got a little bit of a work experience. I went back to trade school. I liked it, but the shop hours are brutal. Hands
mm-hmm.
are always cut up.
Oh yeah,
You know, it it was a rewarding job, and I thought I was going to do it forever. But I just, after this presented itself, aspirations just changed.
oh yeah,
Uh,
oh yeah. It's fucking awesome, man. Which I do have to say, so you know Matt from the machining job,
yeah.
right? He keeps telling me to ask you, and actually, for some reason, YouTube cut the live feed like 4 minutes in, so it's just been you and I this whole time. But I'll repost it later. But he's been like for the last 2 weeks is like ask him about, and I can't remember the name, but like you two worked in like a stadium or something, and something crazy happened.
Um, he might be talking about, we did a work trip. So he works at Motec Corporation in St. Paul. It's an aluminum die cast mold shop.
Right.
And we did a work trip to a suite at the Excel Center. And I'm not sure exactly what he's referencing, but I'm I'm thinking it's the fact that our sober driver was trying to he was a young kid that was trying to drink with us and then sober up and drive home.
Okay. That's probably
And he
what it
got,
was. Yeah. He's like,
yeah,
ask him about like, there's some trip. I don't know if he
yeah.
said it was for work, but like it
We,
was at some stadium. I think he might have even said like it was a basketball game. I can't fucking
it was
remember.
it was a Minnesota Wild hockey game.
Oh, yep. That'd probably be it then. Yeah.
We were up in a suite. The work put us all up in a suite that had beer and food and stuff, and they also had they had Captain Morgan spiced rum, and this kid that we had. So we I met this kid um, that I worked with. He took us to Stillwater, Minnesota, picked up another coworker that's like an old time party guy. He's like a good timer. He's been doing this for partying for 30, 40 years, and he picked him up. So we went to his little basement bar when we picked him up, had a beer there, and then went to the stadium, had a bunch of drinks, and we ended up going to, I don't know if you've ever been to the Excel. There's like an Eagles Tavern across the street from it.
I haven't.
And I don't know the name of the bar for sure, but we got kicked out immediately because my sober driver, I didn't really realize it at that point because I was walking with different people and mingling with different people and whatever. He was so drunk, the bartenders were just like, nope, you can't be in here, get out. And I ended up having to shake it off and drive home that day. I got him home. He was so drunk. He was a young guy that lived with his mom and dad at that point still. And I helped him like to where his bedroom was, and then he turned around and fell down like four like stairs. He had like a small stairway up to his bedroom, fell down the stairs on the family dog.
Oh shit.
And his mom was like, "What'd you do to him?" It was pretty funny. He was fine. He felt stupid the next day when I saw him at work, and I gave him some shit, but it was fine. He was just really drunk.
Yeah, yeah. We've all been there. We've all been there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Especially when you're trying to keep up with people.
oh
Keeping up or catching up isn't something you ever really need to do unless you plan on just getting blackout wasted.
yeah, that was my problem last time I drank a lot, which was in Austin. We bring this up a lot, but the Drinking Bros guys, they just launched a hard seltzer company, and it's 8% alcohol, and
Yeah,
they taste fucking awesome and they're dangerous, and I knew it immediately. So the whole launch party, I was kind of like doing the trade off. Like I drink one, and then drink like a gallon of water, eat some food, drink one, and then once the party was over, we all went to a different bar in Austin, like right down the street, and everybody else was just hammered. So, and I wasn't sober by any means, but I was not on their level. So I was like, oh, time to catch up, and just started doing shots and caught up way too fast, and then woke up the next morning in my Airbnb, like having to recount the night, and there's some gray areas. There's some brown spots in there. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened there, but
yeah, it's kind of a really good climb, but if you go over that ledge, there's no bringing
mhm.
it.
Yeah, I think of what it was is somebody's like, "Oh, tequila shots." And I typically stay away from tequila. I spent the night in jail in Cancun one time when I was 20 because of tequila. So I typically stay away from it, but I was like, I gotta catch up. Like
Yeah.
I'm not on the level to be enjoyable to any of these people. So like, oh, fine, tequila. And
See, I'm kind of a yes man, so it's hard to say no. I mean, I'm kind of a dumpster too. I do like tequila, but I try to back away from shots because I'm kind of calibrated. I know how much I can drink, and I put myself there because I want to be in the pocket when like at a concert. I want to be in the pocket. So if I mix in a couple of shots, I might go over that ledge a little too quickly.
yeah, yeah, it's a mistake I make all the time, and I know it. You just never know when the shots are gonna hit, right? You can do
It's
it.
called,
You could
it's
do a
called giving a damn about future you. And
Oof.
that's what alcohol washes away.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, it was rough. I woke up in my Airbnb wearing my jeans but no underwear. So
Unusual.
yeah, I was able over a couple days to trace it back. The memory started coming back, and I remember like getting to my Airbnb at like 3 in the morning, thinking like
Mm.
I've been out all night, like I need to take a shower. Like and then got ready for a shower, and it's just like fuck it. But then for some reason, instead of putting like underwear back on, I just put my jeans back on and passed out in the bed.
You've been overserved when you're alone sleeping in bed fully dressed.
Yeah, which
Like, you wake
happens.
up wearing the clothes and it's like, man, I didn't have time to take my pants off or nothing. I came
Yeah,
home. covered.
And as a 34-year-old father of two, it still happens probably more than it should. You know?
And that's probably, it probably still counts the times when you order pizza and then pass out while you're waiting for it.
Oh yeah. Have you
I've
ever?
had it a few times. I was sharing a room with my buddy Travis out in Rapid City, South Dakota once. We went to Casey, Wyoming, and we had a really fun road trip out to Wyoming. We were on our way back, and we split a room for our last night before we were gonna go our separate ways, and went out kind of just an average night. But then I ordered a pizza. And I sat down on the edge of the bed like a good little boy waiting for my pizza. And I tipped back on the
Yep.
bed and I passed the fuck
Then it's
out.
done. Then it's done.
And,
Yep.
and being a young couple, they were banging on the other side of the partition. Were
Oh
like,
yeah. Nice.
and then the shower was just the only thing in the doorway was just the shower. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And so they're on the other side of the wall banging, and the pizza guy knocks on the door, and they're like, "Oh shit!" Dave ordered a pizza. They're in the middle of something, and they're like, "Is it paid for?" And there's like guys like, "Yeah, yeah." They're like, "Oh hell yeah!"
Well,
And they chowed down a bunch of pizza and ate my wings, and I woke up to some leftovers, and that was it.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It happens. It happens. Or you leave pizza rolls in the oven and pass out. You know.
Yeah, see, I'm fortunate because I have a countertop pizza oven, and it's kind of a tank, but it's got a timer on it.
Yeah.
It goes for 15 minutes, the little bell dings, and it shuts itself off. I have one time. See, you should never use the stove or oven when you come home from the bar.
It's rare. It's very rare for me.
I made macaroni and cheese, and I fell asleep after I dumped the noodles in.
Oh
And
shit.
I woke up, and it was like 5 to 7 in the morning,
Yeah.
and
No water. It's all burning.
there was no water left. Luckily, it was a good enough pan that it cleaned right out. It was a nonstick pan, but
Yeah.
I had to throw the spoon away, and the spoon was just in the pot. No water left
shit.
at all. Everything was like
Well, hey,
black.
shout out to whoever made that pan because I figured you'd have to toss that bitch out. You know.
No, it was a good nonstick.
But well, cool, man. I've got two questions. These are complete random thoughts that I've had in my notes to ask people forever. So I'm going to ask them. How do you think how must it feel to be a woman or a man, but mainly a woman, who just looks trans?
A woman that looks trans?
Yeah, not actually trans, just looks trans. You've run into these people. I remember why I was thinking this, like I was in the grocery store and kind of just like saw somebody's like, I don't know if they're trans.
A woman with man hands.
Maybe, or like a hard jaw, broad shoulders kind of thing.
I don't know. That's kind of a baited question. I'm sure it's tough. I'm sure there's a lot of unpleasant things that happen in their life that they wish wouldn't.
Well, especially now, right? Because everybody's saying the same thing I am. You're like, what?
Yeah, the trans swimmer that's been coming up a lot lately is kind of an uncomfortable conversation. But that's something that's been going on for like 10 years. There's a ton of records on the state level that have been broken by.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Texas had a big problem with it like 5 or 6 years ago, I think, right, with runners.
Thing. I think just people are noticing it. Maybe it's just the distraction they want from the war in Ukraine or something. I don't know. It's not like it's a new thing, but well, maybe it's just getting put in front of new faces, and that's why it's drawn so much attention.
Maybe. Yeah, it's very odd. I've seen, incredible memes coming out of it, but
Yeah,
whatever.
there has been some decent memes out of it. Yeah,
I saw one with the swimmer who was like in an interview. He's like, "Yeah, I won this medal fair and square. If you don't like it, suck my dick."
I saw one that said he would have broke a record, but a testicle dropped out of his suit.
Mm-hmm. I saw another one that had like that scene from Dumb and Dumber where Lloyd's putting like the X-Lax or whatever in the drink. And like, but it was that, and it was somebody photoshopped. It said liquid Viagra, and it was like me spiking the NCAA women's swimming pool.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because he was a collegiate swimmer as a male.
Yeah, and didn't do very well.
And then, didn't do very well, I think. But then made the switch and did very well. I don't know. That situation is strange, and I think it has a negative impact on the trans community because there's a lot of people that they're minding their own business, and want anything to do with the attention that brings.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought too. I was like, man, they're probably just like people just want to live their lives, which I'm totally fine with. Live your lives, right? Like I don't give a fuck what you want to do or what you want to be called. But yeah, it's getting just getting wild now. But then also my next question, I thought about this on my way home today because I saw a bunch of people. It was kind of nice out once it stopped snowing. Saw some people running. Have you ever seen somebody like running down the street and ever thought like, are they actually running for exercise or are they running from somebody?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to think about that when I see people running now. Just imagine that they're running away from like a bear or something.
Yeah, because especially now, like my wife does it. Every like, especially ladies, they wear like athleisure wear everywhere, right? Wearing the Lulus, making their asses look good. Who knows? Maybe they're just getting the
Yeah,
mail and like,
those fancy leggings that make their booties pop.
I'm a fan, and I will pay the exorbitant amount of money. So
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
don't hate it. But yeah, so like maybe they're just getting the mail and in their Lulus, and fucking Ghostface from Scream shows up, and they're just running. You know?
I don't know if I see enough people running to ever think that maybe they're running away from somebody.
You won't unsee it now. You'll see somebody running, and you'll stop and be like, "Do you need help?"
I had a good conversation when I was in Chattanooga. So I had a good time in Chattanooga, but I didn't, I said I didn't see a lot, but I hung out with some locals. There was a guy at the hotel bar that is sort of a local because he's been living and working out of Chattanooga and kind of just staying at the hotel at a discounted rate for a while. And I don't know, I had some fun conversation. And the guy told me a story about Waffle House. Did you ever frequent Waffle Houses?
When I lived in the South, I probably say I've been to a Waffle House 300 times. Once was maybe sober, you know.
I've never been to one because I only ever see them on road trips and I pass
It's
them by.
good. It's good
But
food. You're just gonna have if you're sober, you're gonna have to deal with a very drunk audience in a
I've
Waffle
heard
House.
I've heard that half of it is the experience of going there, just
Oh
because
yeah.
they're wild cards because they get drunks coming in and stuff. And anyway, so this guy told me a story about a Waffle House, and he was going like duck hunting with his dad and his uncle or something. So they were there early in the morning. He was 14 years old. They're getting their breakfast, and the waitress gives him his drinks. He takes a sip out of his drink, and the waitress, the classic old haggard waitress that's been a waitress forever, looks at him and goes, you look like a pussy drinking out of that straw." He was 14, and he said he's never been able to use the straw since because he thinks about it. That runs
Hey.
across his mind every time he goes to
Yeah.
use one. And when I have a cocktail, I tend to bend the straw and hold on to it, but
Yeah.
I'll use it sometimes. I'll get the
Yeah.
last little bit you can't get from the ice. And I went to do it, and I looked at him and I laughed. And I said, I can't do it. I can't use the straw. And he goes, "Just let the ice hit your face. You're gonna be
Yeah.
fine. Don't look like a pussy." He said.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely do like the finger flip to keep the straw out of my face.
Yeah, I kind of bend it over so it's
Yeah.
not like me in
Yeah.
the eye.
And I didn't know this until somebody brought it up at my brother's, or after pictures at me and my brother's wedding, but I'm a pinky underneath the cup drinker.
Hmm. I think I'm pretty sure I always extend mine
Mm.
because I try to limit contact.
Well, I mean, you're just putting body heat into your beer. So, yeah. So,
Just trying to limit contact. If you have a koozie, it's not a big deal. You can grip your beer, and then I'm probably pinky on there. But when you're just raw dogging it, I'm trying to limit contact, and then
yeah.
you gotta have the counterbalance.
Oh, yeah. Pinky out. I mean, just shows that, you're there to have fun, but you're still classy,
Hmm.
So, we're going to speaking of that, are we going to get some, like, show me that butthole Yeti tumblers soon?
Um, I don't have any tumblers right now in the projects, but I do have a bunch of white hats on the way that are going to be fun. Um, you've maybe noticed this squirt patch that I've got.
Yep. Yeah.
This is like, I know these are both like straight out of the 80s.
Yep.
Um, I'm adding an ER to this, and they've landed, and I'm about to start making the hats. So I'm going to make some of these on white, which I think will look awesome.
Oh,
The
it's gonna be
squirter.
dope. Yeah, it's gonna be real
I'm gonna
dope.
make, I'm gonna make a T-shirt that has like kind of a classic advertising on it. It's like picture like an old Coke ad,
Yeah.
thirsty. grab a squirter.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's very Don Draper esque, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
Mad
like
Men. Yeah.
wildly inappropriate, but it's so bubblegum that it works.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, you know your audience. You know who's going to get these things and where you wear them, right? So, but yeah. So before we hop off of here, plug all your stuff. Where can people find you?
So yeah, repcps.com is representing College Peep Show. That's how that evolved. That
Right.
is my it's my store site. You can find everything from my chili recipe on there to a ton of badass apparel. There's also a drinking pals section where I have Kanga coolers, muff waders, bibs with the 6-pack holsters, bunch of
Right.
stuff like that, suspenders. I am CPS Dave on pretty much all social media: Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Music, Spotify, Cash App, and Venmo. CPS Dave on all of those. And then Rep CPS is kind of like the submission side. Snap Rep CPS is the Snapchat. Rep CPS is the Instagram and the
Gotcha.
Facebook page.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's been a blast. I love your stuff. You're a Midwest guy. I know we've talked about trying to get maybe this summer like a Midwest get together with everybody that listens. So
Yeah,
I'll definitely reach out because it'd be awesome to do a live show with you, man, for sure.
that'd be cool. We'll do a
So
60-minute 6-pack on a live,
60-minute 6-pack, we can do that.
a beer every 10 minutes.
We can do that. What's the shit? What's the game we used to play?
Sounds easy when you put it that way, but do you remember Power Hours? Do you ever do a Power
Yeah,
Hour?
that's what I was thinking of. Power Hour, and then there was like 100 minutes in hell.
That's a shot of beer a minute,
Hmm.
which if you're using a 1 ounce shot, that'd be 5 beers in an hour.
Yep. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, a beer every 10 minutes. Yeah, it'll creep up on you. You might not
Yeah,
feel. You might not feel it until after the hour, but you're gonna feel it at some point, right?
I've I've done some. I've done a couple with like a double IPA that's up in like the 8.2 range and stuff like that. And by the
Oof.
time I'm out of the hour, I'm like I'm hammered drunk. And
Yeah.
at that point in time, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna get this file on the computer so that I can look at that in the morning because that is off
Yeah.
limits right now. I
There's
am
like notes. Just make
and
semi coherent notes so I can
um,
maybe figure out tomorrow.
and then sometimes I'll go live after a 6-pack. I'll go live on TikTok, and that's kind of this backdrop. I actually have a projector screen, and I'll cast my live to my own projector so
Okay.
that when I'm further away from my phone, I can still read the comment section and stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha.
And when I do that after already having a 6-pack, I'm motivated to do drop shots and different stuff like that. And I've had times where I hit pretty wrecked on live, and I try not to like. I'm always trying to pump the brakes. It's like, no, not tonight, not tonight. But then sometimes
Nah,
you
let her fly, man.
lose.
Let her fly. I'll have to follow you on Snapchat. I follow or not Snapchat on you said Snapchat or TikTok? Fuck, maybe I've had too much to drink.
Well, I'm on both. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
'Cause I
CPS on both.
yeah, I follow like 3 people on TikTok. One of which is Two Turnt Tony, who's my spirit animal online. You don't
He's
know if
great.
you? Yeah, I love that guy. Like just a dirt bag and lives with it, right?
A natural evolution for me because I was already doing the Snapchat thing. TikTok forced me to really compress my videos.
Uh huh.
I was doing these 60-minute 6-packs where I would just drink a 6-pack and kind of make commentary on it. And it was really just a feed of my Snapchat story.
Right.
I was editing that and trying to tighten that up and put that on YouTube. So then when TikTok came along, I was like, well, now I need to reinvent this because I only have a minute.
Yep.
Um, and
But you can
so,
you can edit, right? Like you can cut and edit in TikTok, right?
yeah, well, I do a lot of it just on Premiere Pro. I do a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
your software. I do some with just the TikTok camera, but a lot of the stuff I do final editing and stuff on Premiere Pro. And actually, once I learned that I could do that, it works great because things I put on TikTok can port to other channels very easily. But I didn't know how to use TikTok. It didn't make sense to me. I had the app for like 6 months, and I'm like, how do they know how to lip sync? I didn't get how it worked. And I FaceTimed my friend actually in like 10 days. I'm invited to her wedding. I FaceTimed my friend Alyssa, and she's younger. So she just turned 21 or 22 or something like that. She was younger. And so I'm like, how do you do it? You must know. I'm old. You're young. You must know. She put me on with her little sister, who was
Oh
like
shit.
9 years old. And
Oh.
her little sister explained to me how she did it. And I was FaceTiming with her, and I'm like, so you use iMovie and you just download a YouTube song? And she's like, yeah. Well, I was like, oh, I can figure that out. I didn't realize that that's how you did it. And then that kind of just light bulb moment, and I ran with it.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking crazy. But speaking of Two Turn Tony, before we head out, in honor of our boy Matt Chapin, C Hapes we call it because he fucking hates this so much. I tell him every time we're in like a live chat or just talking that I don't have an alarm clock. And Matt, I hope you're listening because this might be true. And I want you to imagine this in your head. I don't have an alarm clock. Every morning, my wife wakes me up by baby birding a shot of Fireball in my mouth.
Every morning.
Every morning. That's my alarm clock. So you're welcome, Matt. He hates it. Every time I say it, he's like, God fucking damn it, Bill.
She just hover over you, stand right over you in bed.
Yeah. Yeah. And, most of the time, if I might be asleep with my mouth open. Sometimes I have to open my mouth, But yeah.
Sure, it's snoring.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's cool. So you're welcome, Matt, for that visual. And so, yeah, you already know. Nooner Nation, go like, subscribe on YouTube. Hit the little alert bell. Again, sorry, don't know what happened tonight. Like 4 minutes in, the live feed cut out. Who knows? Probably said butthole too many times on YouTube in 24 hours or something. But
yeah, I kind of suspect that TikTok is sensitive to "Kiss Me Where I Pee."
That isn't another awesome hack.
Sexual for them.
Yeah, they're very weird about that. They are kind of surprisingly like
because it's all automated, so the computer picks up certain phrases.
So
because you're not supposed to say certain things, and so the computer picks up on that.
Yeah. But all the while, our boy Tony can have a girl in a ski mask and a G-string spitting a martini in his mouth.
I wish I knew.
I know.
I wish.
We'll break the code one day, man. So, like, subscribe, go out to iTunes, rate and review. You can do it on Spotify now, so go review there. iTunes is the big one, so if you don't have an iPhone, stop being poor with your green message bullshit. Steal your friend's iPhone, rate and review. Anyways, we're going to hop off of here, dude. It's been a blast. We'll definitely get you back on here at some point. Congratulations, dude. It's awesome to hear about the success of this. I had no idea. Like, dude, you're selling hats by the thousands. That's insane. Congratulations, man.
It's going well. And actually, you kind of talked about how things were sold out. A lot of that has just been me evolving the process, figuring out how I can get more made, get them made faster, get them shipped faster. And when you start out, you're getting stuff made down the street, and it's slow.
Oh yeah. Trust me, man.
Let's get at it. Show me that butthole's the one.
Yeah.
Show me that butthole's the one.
Yeah, and all you out there, show us that butthole. It's been awesome, dude. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.